Well, having got introduced with Trilling, his career as a critic and a novelist, we shall go ahead with his essay, Freud and Literature. Now, this essay was originally published as The Legacy of Sigmund Freud, Part 2, Literary and Aesthetic by Kenyon Review in the year 1940. The page numbers are given. It was a part of that collection. And a revised version of this essay appeared in Horizon in September 1947. So we know it very well that Trilling had a great admiration for Freud. He admired Freud enormously for his recognition of the dark side of life. Freud tried to focus on the dark side of life. The dark side of life means the side which is not known by others, which is not seen by others, which is hidden. And he respects uh, Freud for this. At the same time, he respects him for his courage. It is courageous in discovering and telling unpalatable truths. You know, through psychology, Freud discovered and told unpalatable. Unpalatable means something which cannot be easily digested. The truths which are not easily accepted by others. And Trilling admires Freud for this courage. He also believed that the great modern writers like D.H. Lawrence and Franz Kafka, W.B. Yeats and T.S. Eliot, James Joyce and Proust, Thomas Mann, Conrad, all these great modern writers offered a subservice, no, subversive. I'm sorry, subversive attitude. Subversive means opposite attitude towards the basic tenets of liberal democracy. Means they oppose the basic principles, tenets of liberal democracy through their writing. In the work of these great modern writers, Turing found the abyss of terrors. Abyss means the dark side. In Marathi, we call it patar, which is not seen. The abyss of terrors and mysteries. That's what he sees in the works of these great writers. But he was unhappy that teaching the works of the great moderns under the respectable auspices of a university course simply legitimized and defined the subversive elements. Now, they didn't focus on this. Actually, they simply means he's not happy with the way these great writers and their literature was taught. He wasn't happy with the university courses. Simply uh, talked about a sub I'm very sorry for the pronunciation, subversive elements. They didn't elaborate the things in a detailed manner. So he's unhappy with the method of teaching, the ways of teaching in university. He believes that Freudian psychology offers a systematic account of the human mind. Now, his concern here is with Freud and literature. So, what Telling thinks is that Freudian psychology, we learned it yesterday while dealing with psychoanalysis. So, his psychology offers a systematic account of the human mind. And psychoanalytical theory had a great impact on literature. Freud's psychoanalytical theory. But the effect, I quote now, I quote really, the effect of Freud on literature has been no greater than the effect of literature on Freud. Means it is two-way. The effect of Freud on literature and the effect of literature on Freud are same, one and same. Means he is not saying that the effect of Freud on literature has been greater than. He says has been no greater than. Means both are equal. Means Freud was equally, inspired by literature. He was affected by literature, we can say. Uh, when Freud was in 70, celebrating, his 70th birthday, one of the speakers is referring to the incident in Freud's life when his 70th birthday was celebrated. One of the speakers in the meeting described him as the discoverer of the unconscious. Okay, the speakers in that particular meeting on the occasion of his birthday, 70th birthday. So he corrected the speaker, right? Corrected the speaker and stated, the poets and philosophers, I quote, before me discovered the unconscious. What I discovered was the scientific method by which the unconscious can be studied. So you can see how humble he was. One of the first speakers described him as the discoverer of the unconscious. But what he says, no, it is not I. The poets and philosophers before me discovered the unconscious. Then what did I do? I simply discovered, what I discovered was the scientific method. I discovered the scientific method by which the unconscious can be studied. So this is what makes him a great psychologist, a great thinker. After talking about this, in the next part of his essay, Perring speaks about the influences on Freud. Okay, Freud was influenced by many great poets, philosophers, etc. So what we see in Freudian writing is the ideas of, he anticipated this who, I'm sorry, both these Schopenhauer and Nietzsche anticipated his ideas. Means what? Before Freud wrote, these people had touched upon that, not as psychology, but they had done something which Freud did in psychology. Because Freud had never read their works. Means we cannot say that Freud, borrowed ideas from them. Because he had never read their works before he wrote psychoanalytical theory. Therefore, there is an anticipation. Anticipation means something which was done before Freud. We can see, but there is no direct connection between Freud and these philosophers. It is nothing but the term, the German or Austrian term is used here. Jagist means the direction of thought of the era, that era. They were German philosophers. Okay, and you might know him. Freud himself was the Austrian person, and in Austria, German language is spoken. So what he says, it is nothing but the Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist means the direction of thought of that era. Psychoanalysis is the culmination, means the combination of the spirit of the Romantics. He was inspired by the Romanticists as well. The Romantics thought that science is standing on the shoulders of literature, on the shoulders of literature. They believed that literature itself is a scientific search into the self. romanticist. Literature is a scientific search into the self, into the individuality, and they believed in the hidden thing in the human soul. So Blake, Wordsworth, and Rupert Brooke did not believe in the wisdom of mere analytical reason. So we can see the influence of these great writers and philosophers on Freud directly or indirectly. In the next part of our discussion, we shall be talking about Freud's contribution to literature.